Okay, so here we are today. Again, my name's Ava. I am about to show you how we're going to attach a hood to a ski jacket. I have a customer, we'll call her M, who has brought me the jacket as well as the hood that she'd like me to attach to it. Now, when you attach a hood to a ski jacket, you always have several options. One is a zipper, if you want it detachable. The other is buttons, also for a detachable. But M preferred to have one that was sewn permanently. And this isn't necessarily the way I would typically do it, but she did request that it was done in a very specific manner. So we're going to just go for it today. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do is we are laying out our... So here we have our jacket. Typically with your hood, you're going to insert it into the seam. You open it up and go ahead and sew it, pin it, measure it. So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to figure out where the center of our hood is, where the center of our jacket is. Okay, we have the seam line here in the middle. And we're going to measure from this point to this point. And then we'll measure the center of our jacket. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, after we have this center point marked right here, we're going to flip the coat over so we can line up this edge. It's lined up perfectly along this seam. Now we're going to be careful with this zipper, which is the pocket for the hood. I'm going to pin it open. And we're going to sew along this inside line right here. Typically, I would sew this from the inside where we have the pins, but today I'm sewing it from the outside along this seam line right here. We're going to stitch in the ditch. That way you don't end up with extra seams. Okay, so like I said, we're just going to stitch in the ditch. So here we have it. Now we're just going to take all of our needles out. And you'll see that it is firmly attached. Now we're going to do one more line up in this general area right here. Okay, so we have our second line is actually pinned. You can see that there's just a little bit of space in between these two on both ends. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and sew it, and we should be able to call it good. We'll zip it and check it, and now you'll see that there's quite a bit of extra material here, but the main idea, because this was not a flat hood to begin with, is to make this area in between each one of the pins as flat and perfect as possible as you are sewing it. Okay? Okay, so there we have it. You'll notice that it is absolutely firmly attached. And so now we just get rid of the pins. And this guy here, I'm actually going to run the machine through this way so that we can tack down these two ends. And trim the leftover threads as they may be. You can see a couple of them here. And that's it. Now, like I said, this is not how I would typically sew in a hood. Typically, I would have opened this seam up right here and gone ahead and inserted the hood, but this was requested to be done this specific way, and I was more than happy to go ahead and just do as was asked. Okay, so here we have it. One hood done and attached. It's fully attached on the inside, fully attached on the outside. It looks great from the outside, which is always very important. You want to make sure that it looks just as good on the inside as it does on the outside. And like I'm thinking, I will go ahead and just hand stitch this edge, and I will probably run a hand stitch on this edge, making